I spent 4 years alone. From COVID onward, I didn't have friends. I abandoned them in favor of drugs. I threw my family away because they meant nothing to me at the time. They don't help me, they don't support me, they're just kind of there to nag on me. So I spent a lot of time alone. Spent a lot of time with my own thoughts, with my best friends, weed and alcohol. And it felt safe to be there. I never felt safe, comfortable, or secure to be around my family or friends. It always felt like I was awaiting judgment. I was awaiting their negative criticism of me. Why would I want to be around that? They don't make me feel safe. I would lock my door, hide in my dark room, and sit there for days and weeks on end without being bothered. It was just me, my thoughts, and the drugs. And it felt safe to be there. Safe to be floating up in the clouds, high and drunk at the same time, while I would watch pornography and keep myself sedated. It felt real safe, real comfortable. Something I could always rely on, something I could always go back to. And I say you were the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I spent the most time with me, and just me. My shame, my guilt, my embarrassment, my stress, and my anxiety. These things, they never made me feel safe. But they kept me in this space of safety. You see, with these 5 friends of mine, I had to figure out some way to keep myself safe. And so I found that outlet with drug use, alcohol and marijuana, and pornography. They kept me sedated. They kept me nice and numb. They made me feel safe in my own bubble world where no one else can touch me here. I can close the door and I can engage in all these activities, and they would make me feel such ecstasy, such security, such safety, and I could just be mind numb myself beyond belief. No one here can touch me. Only when I exit my room or only when someone knocks on my door do I feel this come back to me. It was when I wasn't intoxicated that I never felt safe or secure. It was when I had to deal with the thoughts of sobriety, when I had to deal with sitting with myself after evading myself and denying myself human rights of wanting to be alive and being a human being again, social connection. It was when I denied myself all that. I felt safe. I felt safe being alone. I couldn't handle the criticism of other people. I felt more insecure being around people than I did with my drugs. My insecurities were so bad that if I went out of the house, I couldn't talk to people. I couldn't look at them. I would just not speak with them. I would just nod. I became quite a quiet person because of drug use. I almost forgotten how social of a creature I used to be. I stripped all of that away, that extrovert me, and I replaced him with a quiet nobody, because that quiet person that I became, he made me feel safe. He made me feel secure. He made me feel like I could rely on him for that bubbleness, that world of comfort. The world of comfort would keep me sedated, and it felt nice and safe. I didn't have to worry about my finances. I didn't have to worry about my social connections. I didn't have to worry about my healthy lifestyle anymore. Here I am, I'm living the life of freedom. I'm free. I'm high as a cloud, drunk as the bottle will let me get. I'm going to be hungover tomorrow. Oh, but you know what? You know how I feel. I feel safe. I'm alone. No one's here to bother me. No one can tell me what to do. No one's judging me right now. I'm in this place of, wow, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life until I die. And this social isolation, this loneliness, this escaping, constant need to escape my heavy, raw emotions and my 5 friends here. It was just me trying to protect myself from all this terrible, horrible feelings. Protect myself from being alone, completely alone. Protect myself from my real life, the reality of everything. Because I was always escaping, always finding a way to escape, always finding a way to dull my mind, distract myself. When I wasn't distracting myself, when I was numbing my mind, I was a lunatic. I was crazy. I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stay in my own skin. I thought I can't be in my own body. I thought I hate myself. I thought I hate the way I am. I don't want to be this way. I don't want to be this way at all, I would think. But I have nothing else to do. I have no one else to rely on. What am I to do? I never knew what to do. I never could figure it out by myself. I always resorted back to that safety bubble of comfort, of numbness, of distractions, because it made me feel safe, because it made me feel secure, because no one else in the world is real, I thought. No one else is real but me, because they're not around. No one else is here to help me. Why does anyone else matter? Not when I can feel this way by myself, make myself feel all this security, make myself feel all this comfort. Everything else doesn't feel good. Nothing else I do makes me feel good. I could do a workout, yeah, but in the long run, I'm never going to be able to quit these substances. I can't put it down for a single day. And when I put it down for a single day, that safe space of mine gets intruded by my 5 friends. And when I'm not numb, my 5 friends are there to tear me down. So keeping myself distracted and numb was the only thing I could really ever do. That social, isolated place where no one else in my life but me was around. And added to this, because I didn't have anyone to talk to. I had no one else I can tell how I was feeling. How is anyone supposed to know that I use all these substances to dull my mind, to quiet it? No one knows what I'm struggling with. No one else is real. Isolation made me a terrible person, but it also made me a survivor. I had to survive through all of this alone. Sometimes I'm surprised I'm here, because I really didn't think I would be here. But what kept me sane and safe was this bubble world that was only making everything worse. It was like if I had a cure for my pain, which was the drugs and alcohol and being alone and socially isolated and watching pornography, and that seemed to be the only cure, I would keep drinking it. I would keep smoking it. I would keep consuming it because it seemed like the cure to all my problems. No person can help me, clearly. No family member of mine is even worth my time. They intrude on my space. They make me feel insecure. They bother me. They judge me. I hate them, I would think. But when I'm alone, I don't have to worry about these people. I can just be numb, distracted, high, and let my mind wander and float around. I don't have to be a real person. I can be less than a real person in this state. I don't care if I die like this. At least I'm safe. If I die like this, it's whatever. Probably better than being sober and trying to deal with my 5 friends who I can't handle because they tear me down like it's the end of the world. And social isolation was a big reason why I was consuming as much drugs as I was. I couldn't go a day sober. I didn't have anyone to talk to. I couldn't care to ever be in a relationship with someone because the way I was, I thought I would only be a burden. I would only be this terrible person. I'm a terrible human being. Who would ever want to be with me? I can't even manage a day sober. I'll just sit here for the rest of my life. It's nice and safe here. If I were to be a sober person like everyone else, I wouldn't last. I couldn't do it. I can't do it. Not for me. I used to carry around such a heavy load, such heavy raw emotions with me when I would be sober, that the only way I could manage it was to resort back into this bubble world of numbness, distractions. And so I did that. I did that for years. And it provided me with this false sense of security that when I broke out of it, and when I got sober like I am today, it just made me realize how unfulfilled I was living that life, how insecure every day was, how much of a burden it was to carry around all those emotions, how terrible of a life I was living because of resorting to the social isolation, withdrawing from society, not getting help from other people, not telling anyone how I really felt. That was the unsafe world I was living in, which only provided me with this false comfort, which kept telling me that if I were to tell anyone how I was feeling, it would endanger my safety bubble. If I told someone I was struggling the way I was, they would try and help me in some way maybe. Maybe they would judge me. Maybe they were trying to take me out of the safety bubble. They don't understand that this safety bubble is how I live every day. I rely on this safety bubble to get me to the next day. If I didn't have this safety bubble, I would be wreaking havoc in my own life. It would be chaos. I would be crazy. I would be going insane like a lunatic. You don't understand. I can't handle these 5 people in my life. The guilt, the shame, the embarrassment, the anxiety, the stress. They're tearing me apart. So telling someone how I felt, asking for help, it almost felt like I couldn't because then they're going to take me out of this bubble world. And this bubble world is what keeps me safe. But that was never the case. It just prolonged every issue I had and made it worse. Relying on myself to keep myself numb, distracted, was all I knew how to do. In this isolated world I had lived in, not a single person could help me, I thought. It turns out, how I got sober was the exact opposite. It was relying on people, having people help me, changing this bubble world I was living in, and almost creating a whole different one that was a lot bigger, that involved other people, changing what I was doing, not numbing myself, distracting myself. The false sense of security that this bubble world would give me with weed, alcohol, pornography, distracting myself, numbing myself, keeping away from people, because they would judge me. This only kept me down. I'm glad I was able to get out and change my life and figure it all out. It's very tough to deal with it alone. It's very hard, especially when it's the only way you're getting through your days, especially when you can't even manage to put down the substance for a day, when you tear yourself apart, when you have no one to talk to, when you rely on yourself to try to get sober. I can't tell anyone this. I gotta get sober on my own, I would think. But I would never be able to. I tried for so long to get sober by myself. I could never. And when I tell you that the social isolation was the biggest reason that kept me intoxicated and addicted to substances, it was. Nobody I could ever tell I could never be vulnerable with. And when I was vulnerable with them, they couldn't do anything for me. They couldn't. They thought I had to do it by myself, which only made things worse for me. I'll make a video on that another time. But you definitely need the right help. If you're struggling right now and you're dealing with this loneliness, this isolation, this constant need to stay in this bubble, to keep yourself going from day to day, I've been there. I would love it if you can tell me your story in the comments below. Do you struggle like this, the way I have? I know it's not even easy to think about leaving a comment. I'm not here to judge you. I would love to listen. I'd love to know where you're at. I'm not here to give you advice if you were to leave a comment, but I don't think you should be handling this by yourself. As someone who's been there and done this before, the way I got out of it was with other people's help. I kept thinking I had to do this by myself, do it alone, and eventually I'll make my way out of it, but I never could. It was never something I was able to achieve. But getting people in my life, having that support system, having people who I can rely on now emotionally and be vulnerable with, it's a big help. If you need extra help, I offer one-to-one calling. First link in the description. I also have a free Discord in the link in the description. So if you've made it this far in the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. This is why my isolation world made me feel safe while I really wasn't safe. This has been Anthony, and I approve of this message. Ciao.